Tyler was stopped at a red light at 7:42 in the morning, one hand on the wheel, the other hand opening his banking app before work. The car was clean. Not luxury, not reckless, but clean. A $22,000 sedan with good tires, a quiet cabin, and just enough shine to make him feel like he was finally becoming the kind of adult who had his life under control. Tyler was 34. He earned $85,000 a year as a marketing manager. He had $12,000 in his 401k, about $3,000 in savings, and a job title that sounded stable when people asked what he did. From the outside, Tyler looked like progress. He had the newer car, the professional job, the retirement account, the direct deposit, the kind of life where no single piece looked extreme, but all the pieces together seemed to say, "This person is doing fine." Across town, Marcus was loading tools into the back of a paid-off truck before his first HVAC call. The truck was worth maybe $9,000 on a good day. It had scratches near the tailgate, a dent over the rear wheel, and a driver's seat that had given up pretending it was comfortable. Marcus was 36. He earned $62,000 a year. He rented a modest apartment. He did not own a home. He did not have a job title that made people lean in at dinner. And when he parked next to people like Tyler, he usually felt a little behind, because Tyler made $23,000 more. Tyler's car was newer. Tyler looked more middle class, maybe even on his way to upper middle class. Marcus looked cautious, practical, easier to underestimate. And that is what makes the comparison so dangerous, because both men believed a story that made sense. Tyler believed his income was proof that he was moving up, and that is not irrational. An $85,000 salary is a strong income in many parts of the country. He was contributing to a 401k. He paid his bills. He was not living like someone who had completely lost control. Marcus believed he was behind, and that is not irrational either. He rented while other people talked about home equity. He drove an older truck while other people financed newer cars. He earned less than Tyler, and income is the number people talk about first because income is easy to see. But wealth does not always announce itself. Marcus's money was quiet. It did not show up at the red light. It did not impress anyone in a parking lot. It did not change the way a server treated him at a restaurant. It showed up on a balance sheet. He had about $58,000 split between retirement accounts and savings. He had no car payment. His fixed costs were low enough that he could invest $650 a month without turning it into a personality trait. Tyler's money created the appearance of stability. Marcus's money created actual ownership, and the difference between those two things is where a lot of American wealth gets misunderstood, because income is only the speed of money coming in. It is not proof that wealth is being built. Tyler had $12,000 in his 401k and $3,000 in savings. That was real, but he also owed $26,000 in student loans and $18,000 on the car. Before even adjusting for the car losing value over time, his assets and debts did not say what his salary seemed to say. They said negative $29,000. Marcus, who felt behind, had about $58,000. Tyler earned $85,000 and had a negative net worth. Marcus earned $62,000 and had a positive net worth. That is the paradox. The person who looks ahead can be standing on a negative balance sheet, and the person who feels behind can be quietly climbing. Professor Wealth ran the numbers, and this is where the emotional picture starts to change. If you use a realistic Federal Reserve survey of consumer finances style wealth ladder, households under roughly $23,000 in net worth are near the bottom quarter. The lower middle range runs roughly from $23,000 to $179,000, and for Americans under 35, the median net worth is around $39,000. So Tyler can feel middle class by income while sitting far below where his salary suggests he should be. That does not make him foolish. It makes him normal, because most people are trained to measure progress by what passes through their life, not by what stays. The paycheck passes through, the car passes through, the rent, the groceries, the insurance, the loan payments, the dinners, the subscriptions, the small upgrades that feel deserved after a long week. But net worth measures what remains after all of it. Marcus had less passing through, but more staying behind. Tyler had more passing through, but more claims against his future income. That is why the red light is misleading. Tyler looks wealthier because income and spending are visible. Marcus is wealthier because lower debt and quiet investing are invisible. One man is measuring his life by the symbols of being stable. The other is accidentally building the thing those symbols are supposed to represent. Income is not wealth. Net worth decides your place on the American wealth ladder, and the gap between looking stable and being wealthy can be enormous. So the real question is not who looks better at 34 or 36. The question is what happens if Tyler keeps doing what feels normal until he is 50? What happens if Marcus keeps investing quietly for the same 20 years? And what does the wealth ladder actually say about where ordinary Americans stand when the paycheck, the car, the debt, and the hidden compounding are all counted together? Professor Wealth ran the numbers, and Tyler's situation changes the moment you stop looking at his paycheck and start looking at his balance sheet. Tyler earns $85,000 a year. That sounds safe. That sounds middle class. That sounds like enough income to feel like the hard part is behind him. But net worth does not ask what comes in. Net worth asks what is left after every claim against you is counted. Tyler's car is worth about $22,000. His 401k has $12,000. His savings account has $3,000. So on the asset side, he has $37,000. Then the other side of the page shows up. He owes $26,000 in student loans. He owes $18,000 on the car. Total debts, $44,000. $37,000 minus $44,000 is negative $7,000. That is the part Tyler does not feel at the red light. He feels the salary. He feels the clean car. He feels the fact that money hits his checking account every 2 weeks. He feels like a person moving forward. But income creates motion. Wealth measures position. And Tyler's position is still below zero. That is the salary illusion. A strong income can make a weak balance sheet feel normal because the paycheck keeps covering the leaks. The rent gets paid. The car payment clears. The credit card minimum is handled. The 401k contribution happens in the background. Nothing explodes, so the problem stays invisible. But on a realistic Federal Reserve-style wealth ladder, Tyler is not near the middle just because he earns $85,000. With a negative $7,000 net worth, he is below the bottom quarter threshold, which sits roughly around $23,000 in net worth. And for Americans under 35, the median net worth is around $39,000. That means Tyler is not just $7,000 away from stability. He is about $46,000 below the age median, and the first $7,000 of progress does not make him wealthy. It only gets him back to zero. Now look at Marcus. Marcus earns $62,000, which is $23,000 less than Tyler. On paper, Tyler has the better income. At dinner, Tyler's job probably sounds more impressive. In traffic, Tyler's car looks newer, but Marcus owns a paid-off truck worth about $9,000. He has $58,000 across savings and retirement accounts, and we are assuming no consumer debt. So Marcus has $67,000 in assets and $0 in debt. His net worth is $67,000. That puts Marcus $74,000 ahead of Tyler, even though Tyler earns more. And this is why appearances are so dangerous. No one congratulates Marcus for not having a $365 car payment. No one sees the loan he never took. No one compliments the absence of interest. But that absence is part of his wealth. Marcus feels behind because he rents. He feels behind because his truck is older. He feels behind because his income number is smaller. But the wealth ladder does not measure who looks like they are winning. It measures what sticks. Marcus is still not rich. A $67,000 net worth places him in the lower middle wealth band, somewhere above the bottom quarter, but still below the broad household median of roughly $193,000. If he gets comfortable and lets rent, trucks, vacations, and lifestyle creep absorb every raise, he can stall. His lead is real, but it still needs time. And this is where the next 20 years become uncomfortable for Tyler. Same man, same age, same salary, same negative starting point. Three very different futures. Scenario 1 is the version where Tyler does what feels normal. He pays the bills. He contributes a little. He keeps the car cycle going. He makes minimum payments on debt. When his income rises, the apartment gets nicer, the restaurants get easier to justify, and the next car loan replaces the old one. He is not reckless. That is the trap. He is responsible enough to avoid crisis, but not intentional enough to build ownership. If Tyler averages only about $250 a month of real investing beyond slow retirement progress, While interest and vehicle replacement keep dragging on the balance sheet, he might reach around $120,000 by age 54. That sounds like a big improvement from negative $7,000, and it is. But after 20 years of an $85,000 income, it still leaves him below the current broad median household net worth and far away from upper middle wealth. Scenario 2 is the version where Tyler gets intentional. He pays off the car faster. He attacks the student loan. He stops treating a permanent car payment as normal. He builds cash. He increases retirement contributions when raises come in, instead of letting every raise become a lifestyle upgrade. Eventually, once the expensive payments are gone, he gets to an average of $1,200 a month invested. At a 7% long-term return assumption, that path can put him near $500,000 by age 54, not because he became a genius investor, not because he picked the perfect stock, because the same dollars that used to disappear into debt payments became ownership. Scenario 3 is the aggressive version. Tyler cuts fixed costs hard. He keeps cars for 10 years. He invests raises before he can spend them. He uses the 401k, the Roth IRA, and low-cost index funds as the default destination for extra income. Over time, he gets close to $2,000 a month invested. At 7% over 20 years, with his current retirement balance compounding and his new contributions building on top, he can approach $1 million by age 54. Same Tyler, same starting age, same initial negative net worth. The difference is the monthly spread. That is why the car matters so much. Tyler's $22,000 car looks like an asset, but he owes $18,000 on it. If that loan is at 8% over 5 years, the payment is roughly $365 a month. Over the life of the loan, he may pay around $3,900 in interest, but the interest is only the obvious cost. If the car falls from $22,000 to $12,000 over 5 years, another $10,000 disappears through depreciation. So Tyler does not just have a payment, he has interest leaving one door and market value leaving another. And then comes the opportunity cost. If $365 a month were invested for 20 years at 7%, that stream alone could become about $190,000. Tyler does not experience the car as a $190,000 decision. He experiences it as $365 a month. That is how normal payments hide abnormal costs. Marcus's paid-off $9,000 truck is not impressive. But if that lower fixed cost helps him invest $650 a month, the habit matters more than the vehicle. $650 a month invested for 20 years at 7% can grow to roughly $338,000 before even counting the money he already has. The dashboard is not the scorecard. The payment is, and taxes change the climb too. Tyler's $85,000 salary gives him real room to use tax-advantaged accounts, but only if the money has not already been captured by payments. If he contributes 6% to his 401k, that is $5,100 a year, or about $425 a month. If his employer matches 50% up to 6%, that adds another $2,550 a year. Combined, $7,650 goes into retirement before investment growth. That is good, but it is not magic. A lot of people treat the 401k like a box they checked. I contribute, so I'm fine. But the percentage matters. If Tyler stays at the same low contribution rate forever, the account grows, but it may not outrun debt drag and lifestyle creep. If he raises contributions by 1% every time income rises and eventually reaches 15%, the math changes. At $85,000, 15% is $12,750 a year before any employer match. Over 20 years at 7%, contributions at that level can grow to more than $520,000 from the contributions alone. Add the existing balance, add the match, add avoided interest. Now the climb from negative net worth to upper middle wealth becomes realistic, and that is the real ladder. Tyler at negative $7,000 is below the bottom 25% threshold. Marcus at $67,000 is in the lower middle wealth band. The broad median sits around $193,000. Upper middle begins around $610,000. The top 10% begins around $1.72 million. These are not income categories, they are balance sheet categories. A $23,000 salary advantage does not help Tyler if car debt, student loans, taxes, rent, insurance, and lifestyle spending consume the entire difference. Marcus's lower salary can beat Tyler's higher salary when $650 a month survives and compounds. Over 20 years, the difference between investing $250 a month and $1,200 a month at 7% is roughly $495,000, almost $500,000. That is not a personality difference. That is not a luxury brand difference. That is the hidden spread between looking stable and becoming wealthy. So the strategy is not to obsess over percentile rankings every week. The strategy is to build a quarterly balance sheet. Tyler should list real assets separately from depreciating possessions, retirement accounts, cash, investments, home equity if he ever has it. Then he should subtract every debt, student loans, auto loans, credit cards, personal loans, anything that has a claim on future income. His first target is not millionaire status. His first target is zero. Then $39,000, around the under 35 median. Then $100,000, where compounding starts to feel more visible. Then the higher bands. He should attack the highest interest debt first. Stop replacing old loans with new ones. Build 3 to 6 months of cash and raise his 401k contribution whenever his income rises. Marcus should protect the advantage he already has. His danger is not that he earns less. His danger is that comparison convinces him to buy the symbols of wealth before the assets of wealth have had enough time to grow. If he keeps his fixed costs low, avoids unnecessary car and housing debt, and uses that $650 monthly investing habit as a foundation, he gives compounding room to work. The clean rule is this: measure wealth by what remains after the month is over, after the debt is counted, after taxes are considered, after the payments stop pretending to be normal, and after compounding has time to do what appearances never can. Tyler is still at the red light, hands on the wheel of the same clean $22,000 car. From the sidewalk, nothing looks wrong. The shirt is pressed, the job title is solid, the banking app still shows money coming in, and the car still sends the signal Tyler wanted it to send. But now the dashboard is not the scorecard. The payment is real. The 401k balance is real. The student loan is real. The car loan is real. And that missing $7,000 is real too. That is the part Tyler never saw clearly. His salary created the feeling of progress, while his debts quietly subtracted from every visible sign of success. $85,000 a year made him feel safe enough to keep moving, but movement is not the same as ownership. Across town, Marcus is loading tools into the same paid-off truck. It still does not look impressive. He still earns less. He still rents. He still does not have the symbols people usually associate with getting ahead. But the absence of payments is doing work. The $650 he invests each month is doing work. The debt he does not carry is doing work. The money nobody sees is slowly becoming the money that changes his options later. Marcus missed something too. He thought he was behind because he was comparing job titles, cars, houses, and income. He was measuring the part of money that other people can see. But the wealth ladder measures the part that remains after the month is over. Net worth is not the income that passes through your life. It is the difference between what you own and what still owns a claim on your future income. That is how Tyler can earn $85,000 and sit near negative $7,000. And that is how Marcus can earn $62,000 and quietly stand tens of thousands of dollars ahead. One looked ahead because of income. One was ahead because of retention. So the decision system is simple. Build a quarterly balance sheet. Separate real assets from depreciating possessions. Count every debt without softening it. Build cash protection. Stop letting normal payments hide future costs. Raise retirement contributions every time your income rises. And compare your progress to age-adjusted wealth targets, not to the person next to you at the red light. If this video helped you see something you did not know was there, subscribe to Smart Money and hit the notification bell. We break down the hidden math behind the financial decisions you face every day. The wealth ladder is not judging how hard you work. It is measuring what you keep, what you owe, and what quietly compounds while nobody is watching.